saw you on television, now they wanna jump your train. Take a little piece of your life, baby, and leave you with the mark of Cain. 7 out of 10 say you're not gonna make it. I don't know, you just might have to bet on it and see who will fall out. Follow your electric glow, your pain and your sorrow. They'll see you in your show and all of your electric glow. The same thing tomorrow. Spinning out on illusion.
As a budding musician back in the late 70s and early 80s, I remember going to my very first rock concerts. Although I loved the music and I loved the bands, I couldn't help but be inspired by that guy down there on that giant mixing console. I didn't really know a lot about it, but it was big and it was bright, and I knew for certain that that person was in control of the stick and ultimately the experience that I was going to have. I've always looked at sound as part of the artistic process. I think of sound engineers and everybody on the crew as basically the fifth Beatle. If all the gears don't mesh together, if everything doesn't go right, it really doesn't matter how good the band is on stage. We are responsible for transferring that on-stage sound to that audience. And we strive to improve upon that every single day, every single show. I remember back in the 80s seeing Robert Scovel on the cover of a magazine and believing full well, as a musician mind you, that Robert was responsible for the sound of Def Leppard, and I loved that band. I learned later on, of course, that Mutt Lange did the studio work, but Robert was indeed responsible for the live sound and created that experience from the album for the audience on some incredible equipment and some incredible designs. And that really inspired me to go deeper into professional live audio. I find myself some 30 odd years later still in this industry, and I love every minute of it. So I felt that after 20 years of working with manufacturers in training and education, I wanted to bring that out to the greater population of systems technicians, front of house engineers, by creating a brand agnostic training academy, and that's called Truth in Audio. So what exactly does brand agnostic mean? There are incredible technologies in our industry. I've told people that you could probably take a systems technician with all the complexities that he has to deal with on big arena stadium tours, and he could probably fly a passenger jet. These guys have incredible skills in what they do. The issue that I saw was access to education, access to knowledge. A lot of us have been mentored, me included, from some very, very incredible people in this industry. I feel blessed. I feel fulfilled in what I've learned. Most of us stand around and talk about where the next level of guys, where the next generation of guys are getting their education and what is their understanding. We've obviously moved from, point source type systems into line source, and now we're into the digital age of sound systems. Mixing consoles, of course, have gone from land yachts to a mixing console that you could operate on your iPhone. We've seen incredible advances, modeling softwares, predictive softwares, measurements, drawings. It's become extremely complex, yet there is no formal place to get a education on this industry. So Truth in Audio sets about to change that. By being brand agnostic, it allows us to present everybody's technologies. We don't stray away from talking about a certain brand. We embrace all brands. And we just felt that it was more important to the people sitting in our classroom to be introduced into all of the technologies that are out there instead of a single brand name. Not only the things that exist today, but where it all came from. What's the historical context of this equipment? And learning gain structure and signal flow and patching of racks and pointing of loudspeakers is as important now as it was then. We have digital age now, we have USB sticks, we have so many tools at our disposal. It's incredibly important to understand where those things came from and why they exist. I think it makes the technician and the engineer more rounded and more intuitive on the work at hand. Sometimes the old Jedi ways are the best ways. And having that knowledge at least is going to help you understand all of the modern equipment and why it all exists. It wasn't enough to just start a training academy. There are a number of those out there in the industry right now. I wanted to do something special. I wanted to do something that embraced the art plus science of what it is that we all do. As an industry veteran, I've made friends. And I've reached out to those friends who happen to be heavyweights in this industry, and unanimously I have gotten incredible support from all of them in many ways, from their endorsement of the school to curriculum, to access to what it is they do, and but the mind share is definitely what we were after. So the curriculums that we have produced for Truth in Audio are not coming from a single person. We are the funnel for, I think, probably 10 to 15 professional sound engineers, systems technicians, company owners, you name it. We have a lot of people involved in delivering this curriculum to the students. So how does it work then? How do you attend a class? Well, it's a mobile academy. So the plan is to hit all major centers around the US right now. We are also looking at the creation of a Latin version of the school, and we've also been in discussions about creating a version for Asian countries. So we have a grandiose plan for spreading the education around the globe. In the United States, we have 2 large rigs that we will be moving around the country. We basically will follow the sun and hit all the major centers. Sign up for the school will be done through our website or on site, and we will have a tour schedule, just like any tour out there, to let our students know, or our potential students know, when we're going to be in that specific area. So getting access to the school is quite simple. We plan on keeping the prices as reasonable as humanly possible. We have manufacturer involvement to that end to be able to offset some of those costs so that we can keep our prices down and attract as many people into the class as possible. Although the curriculum is brand agnostic, but all brand embracing, we've reached out to manufacturers. We've explained to them what it is that we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to give the technicians and all the budding industry people that are coming in a baseline knowledge of all technologies. And we feel that this is of high attraction to manufacturers because it creates a more educated base from which to draw from. I was told by one gentleman that we basically take care of a lot of the advanced training that they sometimes have to do, and it allows the manufacturer to focus on their core technologies and not have to educate people on the basics, on the fundamentals. That's not to say that what we do is basic, but we provide a broad-based knowledge of many technologies, which should be really helpful when you go in and take specific brand education for loudspeakers, mixing consoles, and things like that. So the manufacturer's involvement is incredibly important to the school. We will support them, we will advertise for them, we will let them put their swag and materials in our school. but we will stay focused on all technologies in a very neutral environment. So the school has 4 different levels. Initially, we're going to go out with basically a 75% bias towards an intermediate, only because we want to get our footing in the market. We want to give a curriculum that's not overly complex, but is also not purely at the novice level either. And then once we get established, once the school is solid and secure, we will break it out into 4 different training levels. Number 1, the first level, will be quite novice. We will go through things like coiling cables and proper etiquette, behavior, dress code, all of the things that are going to help you basically impress a rental company owner and get your feet wet in the industry until we get a chance to come back again so you can hit level 2. Everything from lifting with your legs and not your back, all the way up to when is it appropriate to party and when do you got to go to sleep. These are all very important key factors in getting a good start in the industry and staying in the industry. Then we move on to level 2. Level 2 is more or less what we're bringing to the market initially, as I said, and it is an operational curriculum. So we're going to teach you many operational things on dealing with live sound, from understanding analog consoles to digital consoles, from point source loudspeakers to line source to DSP-driven systems, FIR filters, microphones, stage monitors, ClearCom, radios. The list goes on. So we're going to give you a really broad look into very operational processes and elevate you in a way that assures that you're going to do the best possible job. You're going to be attractive to the rental company owners, and you're going to stay in this industry. We want you to stay in this industry. Level 3 is a much more advanced course, which takes us deeper into the rabbit hole of modeling softwares, of design using DWGs, and all of the highly complex tasks that you see most of the A1s and primary systems technicians working with out in the field. Networking, audio over IP, all of those very modern, very technical things that these guys have to do these days to make a sound system, a modern sound system, function properly and be optimized. That will be level 3. And then finally we get to level 4, which we consider a master class. And what we have in store for master class is incredible. Students will have access to be able to go one-on-one with some very serious talent in our industry. Depending on your discipline, that could be a high-level front-of-house sound engineer, that could be a high-level systems tech or monitor tech. It could include being in the field, even internship or mentorship with some people. But it will provide the maximum amount of impact to your career. Also, between levels 3 and 4, you'll understand how loudspeakers are designed, how they are manufactured, what do phase plugs and compression drivers and waveguides, how do all of these things factor into systems behavior and end result. The list of topics is endless, and it's our challenge to create the right package for each one of the levels. But I assure you that they will be incredibly compelling, incredibly interesting, and a wonderful challenge for anybody that wants to get into this industry and stay in this industry. So that concludes my first video. There will be subsequent videos that will be included into this little brief library discussing the school and talking about the things that we will be doing. We have some incredible programs that are going to accompany the school. You'll want to learn about Hot Rod, which is an amazing thing. And yeah, I mean, let's end this video now and come back later with a second portion, and let's go deeper into this. Let's learn more and more about what this project is all about. I see Truth in Audio as an umbrella for the entire audio industry. It's a training academy at its core, but when you have such wonderful access and support from so many industry heavyweights, I think it only makes sense to leverage that energy and that history and do incredible things with it. So the next video, we'll get into that a little bit deeper, so stick around. Hope to see you again.